Hey yo, welcome back to Absolute Intense Wrestling's The Card is Going to Change. My name is Ronald Two Legs, and as always, I'm joined by AIW owner John Thorne. What's up, Thorne?
We are here to talk, I suppose, about the Cibernetico De Mayo Tres this Thursday, and gonna try my best to keep that Mom Bishop positivity going, but it's gonna be tough this week.
We had a classic hard sell week here.
I don't know if we're going to sell anything, to be honest. It doesn't seem like it. But,
well, we're going to talk for an hour at least. There's one thing for sure.
I don't know. We'll see. It's going to be a therapy session this week for sure. But one thing I do want to put out there is we finally kind of collectively started really mapping out a new Patreon layout.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to be rolling that out, May the 1st. We kind of, went over all these different things and taking some things off the board that were hard for us to deliver, putting some things on the board that, we think that we can deliver, and adding some value to it. And you're going to have your own tier named after you, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw a couple new things on there. One of the tiers, the deliverables, I guess is what you call it. I'm pretty excited for it. I liked one of the ideas we had. I don't know how much you want to talk about it yet, but one of the things I think is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see how it goes, but everyone that's on the Patreon, you'll probably be getting updates as you listen to this, maybe prior to even listening to this, because I'm going to after we're done recording this, I'm going to start kind of wiping the Patreon clean and updating all the tiers and deliverables and all that stuff. So it's, tomorrow, at the time of this recording, it'll be the 30th, but it'll all be ready, for May the 1st, I believe. So finally, we've been talking about it for a long time. Shout out to Dustin Alberti, who kind of, laid the groundwork on, things where he thought things could change. And, that's what's interesting about, having Dustin and, you kind of in the fold, is because you guys were, people on the other side of this, to where, you kind of can come with that perspective when, we're discussing these things and say, like,
yeah,
no, like, I don't think that that's going to work, or I think this will work. You know what I mean? Because you guys have that perspective from the fan perspective of things, and
yeah,
I think it like really kind of helps us stay, in a very reasonable realm as far as things like this are concerned. So props to you and Dustin for kind of, always having, the fans back, so to speak, and trying to, add value to everything that we're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one thing we talked about the one time, because I was laughing. We were talking about in the group chat, and I said, listen, I know I'm the least valuable person in this whole thing. I'm very aware of my position here. And you and Chase even kind of said, like, you can think that, but at the same time, it is kind of a, it's a unique perspective, because like you said, sometimes wrestlers, you've been in it, you've been doing this for 20 years, you get lost in stuff sometimes, or, you can't see the forest from the trees type thing. Sometimes, it's nice to have like an outsider kind of perspective on things. And that's kind of just always the way I try to look at it. Like, what would the fans think? Or if I was still just on the other side of the guardrail, how would I think or feel about certain things? And just try to give that perspective.
Yeah, and I mean, some things I think, people give us $0, and then there's other times where, like, I overvalue things, and
yeah,
it's just kind of good to be able to have that, sort of filter system to throw these things through. But a lot of us worked on trying to, just really revamp the Patreon and, try to establish that as, a decent, stream of revenue, especially, like we've been talking about it the last couple of weeks. We've, outside of the temple shows, which ironically, everyone has so many opinions about the temple, but every other venue has seen like a plummet in ticket sales, while the temple is trending up. And I'm not trying to jinx that or anything, or like,
yeah, but, right. Be careful.
It's just like, you know, we're just kind of looking at all these different things, and you know, we're just like, okay, you know, we really have to focus on these, you know, these alternative revenue streams, because you know, like when, you know, when we've seen, you know, the Mercury lounge shows, which we thought was going to be a vehicle to attract new fans and build the fan base, go the completely opposite way. And then, you know, we discussed last week with the Shrine, you know, being down like well over, you know, 200, you know, the average or whatever, you know, down by about 200 at least. You know, we go, wow, like, hey guys, like, we got to sit down and figure this out. And, you know, there's already, I'm just going to put it out there right now, and I'm not even, it's not even like a threat or anything. Like, we've already, you know, started talking. We've for sure probably taken Llkod weekend off the schedule. Fresh Meat 4 is definitely off the schedule, and you know, there's talks of maybe doing a 1 day somewhere along the lines, but with adding the show in August for SummerSlam, you know, so close to Absolution, we are, you know, just looking at how things are trending. You know, we can't then come back in a month with, you know, 3 shows at the Temple. It's just, I think it's just asking too much of the fan base, and you know, obviously, like with things trending down, we want to see things trend up. So I think, you know, we're probably going to take a large amount of time off. You know, as far as like the big events after the 8/1 SummerSlam. You know, Wrestle Rager, I'm not too worried about, really. But from there, you know, there may be a large gap, like all the way to Hell on Earth, that we're discussing right now, just because, you know, and things will change, but, you know, you have to look at how things are trending and get ahead of it before a major disaster happens. And, you know, by looking at how this schedule came together with SummerSlam, you know, coming to Cleveland and all that stuff, it just looks like that is going to be maybe a little too much to, you know, for just the expectation, you know, of fans to come out and support that many big events in such a close proximity. I think is too much. You know, we want Absolution to obviously be a success. We want the SummerSlam August 1st show to be a success. And part of me thinks that, you know, guaranteeing that those are successful is if we kind of promise a, you know, a little vacation, so to speak. And, you know, I think that's what we're going to do. We've heard nothing also concerning the Fonzie tournament for the summer, so I would think that that is off the board this year, because I have not heard from, you know, we typically partner with the Great Lakes Geek Fest people. Reached out to them a couple weeks ago, got no reply, so I don't know. I would imagine that that's a no. And our guy at the Main Street Wadsworth is no longer there, so I think that one is off the schedule as well. So it looks like we'll be having a lighter summer schedule, and then, you know, probably putting those you know, a large gap of time off to make sure, you know, like Hell on Earth does good, and, you know, the final show of the year in December does good. So, you know, there's, like I said, there's a possibility we'll add a like 1 day Llkod or something in there that we're discussing, but as of now, we're probably taking, you know, people that are on the Patreon and saw those dates, you know, we uploaded the schedule like early, like at the beginning of the year. Those Llkod dates are probably, you know, coming off the board for sure.
Do you think in part it has something to do with the fact that obviously it's a 2-day tournament show and those are kind of tough, but then it's also a lot of, you get a heavy dose of fly-in participants, you know, so just the price of that one is so up there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you know, it asks a lot. We have to price it a certain way, and it typically loses money every year regardless. And, you know, sometimes, like, we're able to kind of balance that, based on, it's like kind of like, okay, like save a little, and then burn it at the J-Lit, and then, you know what I mean? Like, obviously you don't want to lose money on anything, but like we've been able to kind of like not, like have the bottom totally fall out. There's been bad years, and they've been heavily documented on this podcast. Like the last one was pretty rough. We wound up, kind of making it out okay, but a lot of that is, we have these other shows and these other things that kind of like are put in the rainy day fund, and then we burn through the rainy day fund, and all is well. But we're burning through the rainy day fund like now, so like it's like putting that just like trying to be a forward thinker, like I had some conversations with Pedro, who's really kind of keeps his eye on the finances and stuff like that, and it's just like like we expected these Thursdays to not cost us money, and they're costing money, and like we thought that they were going to be this like vehicle for new fans that were going to drive to the to the temple shows and to the shrine show, just build and find new fans. It was like we thought it was going to be the perfect vehicle. That's how we saw a lot of that kind of happen when we were doing them at the Winchester. And those Winchester shows were always fucking packed. Like, I don't think there was a Winchester show that was not packed.
Can't think of one, yeah.
And I don't know. It's just not happening for whatever reason. I don't know if it's just, I don't know. So that's just kind of where we're at. Not trying to start it off on a, kind of like business note.
Yeah.
But, just like putting it out there. And that's why, to bring it full circle, like that's why it was like, okay, we really have to fucking figure out Patreon and like different ways to make money right now, because, we are, this plan did not work, with the Thursdays. This is it. Like, it's not like a threat or anything. Like, there's no more Thursdays for this, foreseeable future. Like, we may try to see if they'll let us do the Halloween thing in October.
Yeah.
Maybe, but we gotta, like, it's just that unfortunate thing to where you gotta kind of like, strap in and, make some hard decisions and figure out how, we're gonna get things back, steady the ship and get things back on, back on course to where, we're not, like, listen, like, I'm gonna be totally frank, like, we have fucking 27 tickets sold for Thursday right now as we record, so that's not great.
Yeah, I mean, mostly like you said, I mean, it's bad for business as well, but it's just, you don't want to keep putting, the wrestlers and stuff in front of these smaller crowds. It's almost, you're doing a disservice to them, you know what I mean, in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, and it just makes us look bad. It makes it makes the brand look bad. It makes us look bad to the venues. It makes us look bad to other potential venue partners. It's just, after a certain point, you got to cut your losses. You know what I mean? And like, if it would, like, I don't want to cancel the show, but like,
right.
I'll see it through, and we'll see it through, and and then that'll be that. And unfortunately, a lot of those kids that we were trying to provide this platform for, like, we can't do it right now. It's just not feasible.
Yeah, I mean, that's seemingly the people that are going to suffer the most is people who need to get these reps, you know what I mean? And that's why we created the Thursdays, essentially, was to bring in new fans and all that, like you said. But, the biggest thing is just trying to get everyone, as many opportunities as they can. And, taking away a whole, all the Thursday deals, it's just less and less time for, for people to get in there.
We saw it work very well at the Winchester. You know what I mean? You saw people like the Rip City Shooters really develop in the Winchester, and so many other, Isaiah Broner's first show was at the Winchester. There was so much development that happened at those Winchester Thursday shows, and it just has not caught the same magic. This latest run, for whatever reason, I thought, and that's why we were so adamant of trying to find Thursdays. It's like,
Yeah.
We saw so much success when we were doing them before, and that's why we really pushed and like really fought to get back into the to get it back on the schedule. And like it just, the first one was great, like we were just like, this is it, you know what I mean? Like, okay, like, will you give us more? Yes, you'll give us more. Here we go. And then like way worse the second time, and now it looks like it's going to be pretty brutal on Thursday. So it just is what it is. And I mean, there's always that chance for a miracle or whatever, but like even if we have a decent walk up, or they're done for a while. I mean, it's becoming too risky, like we gotta kind of like refocus on what we're good at, and we're good at the big events, like the Temple will probably be fucking do well, I would think. I mean, we have Kurt Angle, we have Josh Prohibition's retirement match. Like, there's a ton of fucking surprises and other big shit that's scheduled for that show. Like, I think that should do pretty good. I think when we go back to the Shrine, we're coming back with a much heavier talent pool, and some big matches set for that. I think that'll be good. And then you rolled right in Absolution, and I hope that would be good. So it's just kind of like, let's refocus our energy on the big events right now, and kind of get things back on track.
Okay, well, fair enough. I feel like we kind of discussed that at length. What do you say we get into this Thursday's card here a little bit? We got plenty of matches. Speaking of the Fresh Meat Show, we do have a little bit of like a Fresh Meat 3.5 on this show. We have a student that will be debuting. The Terrible Dog going to be going up against Tyler Riggins. Tyson Riggins. I keep calling him Tyler. I kept calling him Tyler at the show. Everyone's like, his name is Tyson. And I'm like, God damn it. Why do I keep trying to change his name?
Tyson Riggs.
The Riggins thing I'm not giving up on, but Tyson is his first name.
Yeah. We need him underage drinking in a pickup truck.
He's got that cowboy hat. But this is one I'm really excited for. The Terrible Dog's been around. He's been around doing his thing for a minute here, and I'm excited to see him to get in the ring in AIW and show everybody what he's got.
Yeah, and I don't know if I can't remember if we went into depth on about this really at all. And I'm not trying to blow people's spot up, but he's moving away. So this is probably going to be the one and only of the Terrible Dog for the foreseeable future. He's graduating college. He's not from here. He's off to enter the workforce of the real world post college, and he is relocating to another state in a couple weeks. So he was like a kid that was on the bubble for Fresh Meat 3. He continued to work hard and train, and we wanted to give him this moment before he took his services elsewhere. So that's what we're gonna do. So this is he deserved it. He worked very hard for it, and we're gonna reward him as much as we can by giving him his debut match as promised by us.
I'm excited for this one, man. He's an invaluable guy around. I really like having him around. I'm sad to see him. He said he's moving away. He's not from here, so he had said he has alluded in the past to his plan being finishing out his his duties that he's taking care of that he's leaving for, and then coming back here. But and he's not from this area, so
right, yeah. You just never know how it's gonna go,
right?
With stuff like that, so. Maybe we see him again, maybe we don't, but it's going to be for quite some time regardless. What he's leaving to go do, is certainly, I think, like at least a 6-month situation. So, yeah, I mean, not trying to break kayfabe too much, but certainly an invaluable member of the team these last 2 years, especially since we took on the in-house production and all that. Just been invaluable, incredible help to Chase Oliver, and just one of the only guys that has wanted to really jump in and learn every aspect of producing a live wrestling event. Besides Chase, you know, he's the only person that he could go anywhere in the world and say, yeah, I can set your shit up and run it. You know, he knows how to do it all.
Yep.
You know, so he has made himself invaluable to the world of wrestling if he chooses to go that route. You know what I mean? He has so many, he can be a wrestler. He can, you know, produce live streams. He can do, you know, so much. And just incredibly thankful for him. You know, I wish that, you know, we could duplicate him. You know, he's a little strange, but, you know.
That's why I'm so worried about.
You have that with wrestling, so, you know, like, you kind of fit right in. And, you know, I just wish, I really do. I wish that, you know, we could have 3 or 4 of them, you know, because it would certainly make things run so much smoother. And it would certainly keep Chase Oliver sane, because I can't keep Chase Oliver sane. You can't keep Chase Oliver sane. Pedro can't keep Chase Oliver sane. The Terrible Dog is the only person that could keep Chase Oliver sane.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That's kind of what I was saying too. That's why I'm so worried about him leaving. I don't want him to leave, because once somebody else figures out that he can do all this stuff, like, oh, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. I ain't letting you. They're not going to let him leave. You know what I mean? We're kind of under the, you know, it's not really our choice. He's going, but once somebody else figures out all these talents that he's had, they're not, you know, they're going to make it too good for him, so he can't leave, and we're never going to get him back.
I'll tell you what, though, I'm going to be buying some T-Mobile stock, or I'm going to find out what Chase Oliver's phone provider is, because he's going to be breaking a lot of phones after this guy leaves. So
spiking him off the ground.
I am buying some stock in whoever his service provider is. That is for sure.
Oh, man. I love you, Chase. We love you, buddy. It's all in good fun. But, yes, definitely make sure. I mean, if anything for this show, you know, the Cibernetico is a great match. It's always a spectacle every year. But, you know, if you've ever enjoyed any of the streams in the last, you know, year or so, 2 years, you know, the Terrible Dog had a lot to do with that. You know, he's taken up a lot of help on that side of things. So, hey, you know, if you want to come out and see him wrestle, pay your respects or whatever, as they say, and show him some love,
I mean,
come on out.
He deserves it. You know, he deserves it. He's worked extremely hard. You know, he's really made himself irreplaceable, you know, and it's just like he's set such a high standard, and it's made me just hate so many of the other students so much more than I probably should.
Yeah, right.
But, you know, it's true, you know, because I don't have to ask him. I don't have to, you know, like, he arrives and, like, he's fucking running cords and taping shit down and plugging things in and fucking, you know, like, he's got it all handled. And it's just like, then I look and there's like 7 guys fucking splitting the fucking junior bacon cheeseburger in the corner, talking about like what they want to do if they ever get to wrestle, you know. And it's just like, what the fuck, you know, like, come on.
Yeah. The last Mercury show, Dustin was arriving a little later. He just couldn't get out of work. Excuse me. And he goes, hey, you know, can somebody take care of these segments, get some of these segments recorded for Intense TV? I'm just not going to be there. And I said, yeah, sure, man, I'll take care of it. I'll, you know, get it all handled for you. Just, you know, Pedro knew what he had to do. Everybody kind of had the idea what they had to do. I said, yeah, sure, I'll take care of it. Caleb got there, and I said, hey, you know how to set up the cameras and everything. Can you help me set up the cameras and get this stuff ready for Intense TV? He goes, yeah, sure. He did everything else. I literally did nothing else. He did every single other step for me, because he just did it. It was just, he was like, yeah, I'll take care of it. I'll do it, blah, blah. Didn't have to, you know, hey, beg him or nothing. He just did it. He knew exactly what to do and did it. And like I said, like you said, I wish we had 10 more guys like that.
Yeah, 7 other guys were fucking splitting a Frosty in the corner.
I don't know what anyone else is doing, but Caleb, man, I asked him to do it, and
all they ever want to do is eat. Like, hey, can we leave to eat yet? Can we go eat?
That's
what time can we go get some food? And then, like, it's like, oh, we gotta go sit down somewhere, all 10 of us, and be gone for 2 hours. While fucking the Terrible Dog is doing everything. That motherfucker he packs a lunch. He's smart.
Yeah, I've gotten him food. So I don't leave. I always get food delivered, because I've always said this before. As soon as I leave, something happens. I'm like, where'd he go? Blah, blah. So, and I don't want to be the guy like, where the hell did he go? So I've gotten food for him a time or two here or there. But yeah, I don't think he eats much. He's like you, though. He likes chicken nuggets. He's a chicken nugget guy.
You keep a couple nuggets in the chamber for you just pop one in when you need one.
Just get a 6-pack on the way. If I ever get Ronald's, I'm just getting a 6-pack for the Durable Dog. It's all good.
You always got to have a couple nuggets in the chamber, especially if you're going out drinking.
Nugget holster.
Yeah. I went somewhere when I went to Duke and I went to AEW when Britt won the belt and got like some DoorDash or something and like got like a 20-piece and he's like, why'd you get so many nuggets? I was like, we're going drinking, man. You got to have a couple nuggets in the chamber.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's funny.
It's gonna be a long day.
Oh, shit. Well, yeah, so definitely make sure, like I said, come out and check out the Durable Dog versus Tyson Riggs this Thursday. Going forward in the card, we got Vic Weiss taking on Nipsey Nash. A couple guys, newer guys. Nipsey, one of the more recent graduates, and Vic been around for a round or two here. We're going to see these guys square off.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Nipsey Nash. For like, and this is gonna sound bad, for like everything but the wrestling. I think he has such a great everything else. Like as soon as he really figures out, his moveset and things like that, like he can be a guy that you could, everyone's gonna want to see pretty soon. I think. I think he's just like one of those guys that's like right on the cusp of figuring it out. He just needs a couple cool moves and a couple, ideas of, where to place things. And, a lot of that was, why we put him in there with Dr. Dan last time we were there.
Yeah.
And, I think, Vic is obviously a guy that continues to, try to push the envelope of what he can do in the ring. And, he's always, trying to advance and elevate and, sometimes to his detriment do too much. And I think that, this is going to be one of those matchups that, is going to push Nipsey Nash to learn one way or the other.
I think, and like you said, maybe it sounds bad to say that, but I mean, if anything, I would say he's at an advantage. I mean, he hasn't been wrestling for very long. So unless you're some incredible natural talent, it's going to take a little bit to get the wrestling portion down of it. But I think the character work, I think the other stuff is the harder part, man. You can teach people to wrestle. You can learn moves over time and really hone that craft and figure out how to be comfortable. I think it's the character-driven stuff and that type of stuff that he's already so good at. That's the hardest part. So I think he's in a good position, you know what I mean? Because that to me is the hardest part of wrestling, is really finding your niche in the character work and how you present stuff. So him, I think he's in a good position already. You know what I mean? Like if all you really got to do is get better at moves, that can come with time, easy. It's the character stuff and the other type of stuff in wrestling that's really hard. It's not like a guarantee of figuring that out, in my opinion.
I mean, this is gonna sound like such a ridiculous question, but like, it's been a while. Do you remember Twan Tucker?
I do.
He's the same exact way. Like he had every other intangible thing. He just needed to figure out the in-ring stuff. And, I mean, unfortunately, he's disappeared into the ethers of, wherever people disappeared to when they vanished from wrestling. Yeah. But he was one of those guys. He had everything. He had every other fucking thing going on. He just needed to get in better shape a little bit and just figure out a couple little intricacies in the ring. But he had all the things that you can't teach. Fucking charisma, like just emotion, presence, all that stuff. Nipsey Nash has all that stuff too, like he's just got to keep working at it. And Vic is another guy, who's still trying to figure it out. But you've seen him, he always has a nice gear for the most part, and a good presentation, and he's always trying to push himself to do new things and execute new things. And he certainly is a person that wants to improve when he's in there between the ropes. And I think this is going to be a very interesting matchup. Vic has a little bit more experience, but you don't know what's going to happen.
Right. Especially in AIW, man. Anything can happen, especially in these Thursday nights. It's anything can happen. So Going forward in the card, we do have a women's match on this card. We got Jocelyn Navarro versus Gabby Forza, the Nomi taking on the Gold Standard. This one I'm really excited for. We've seen Nomi come in here a couple times now, and kind of show off what she's got going on. We're going to see her take on, the Gold Standard of the women's division in Joss.
Yeah, we've been pretty adamant on, how the Nomi came to be in AIW, and the funny thing is she just kind of overheard us discussing, the dates that we were, pursuing at the Mercury, after that first one, when they were really impressed and were kind of like really open and like, hey, when do you guys want to do this again, and like she just kind of overheard like the dates and she like put them in her calendar, and she was just like, hey, just I heard you guys say these dates, like I would love to come to them, I would love to make myself available. And, she's, worked out a deal, and, you got to respect that hustle, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you want people that want to be here. You want people, wrestling for you that want to be here, want the initiative. She does not live close. That's not a close drive by any means. So it's not like she's like, yeah, let me just jump in the car and see what I can do. You know what I mean? That's a serious motivation. To get in the car and drive for 10 hours.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Jocelyn has been in there with the who's who of everybody. For these last couple of years, and I don't know that she's ever been in there with somebody the size and strength of Gabby Forza, but certainly has the experience and just know-how, over her. So, it's going to be kind of one of those, age-old tales experience versus just raw power and strength, right? Like,
yeah,
it could go either way. I think, both are severely kind of underrated as a whole, when it comes to just professional wrestlers, not just women's professional wrestlers.
Right.
And, we're going to see how it goes. That was the benefit of, doing these Thursdays. We're able, we were trying to establish more, female competitors on the roster. We were actually trying to add a second women's match, but, just based on the tickets and stuff and what that expense would be, like we kind of had to, pull back the reins a little bit on that idea for now. But, yeah, we were, that's, what was kind of exciting about these is like, especially the Cibernetico. There's 16 people that are tied up in the Cibernetico, so
right.
Like there was room to add stuff, but it's just, like we said at the top of this recording, we have to kind of look at things from this like, hey, like, what do they call it, like burn rate or whatever in the business world. Like we're burning like way more than we're making right now. So
yeah,
these Thursdays were not. They just weren't. They weren't what we thought that they were going to be. So it is what it is. But regardless, I think this is going to be a great matchup, and I don't think that either of these women are going to hold anything back when they get in the ring.
Can't wait. Moving forward, we do have a 4-way on the card. We're going to see Derek Dillinger square off against Big Sam Holloway versus Bronson versus Aaron Rourke. This is going to be a 4-way. We got a new face here in AIW. Bronson coming back again. We saw him last time at the Mercury Music Lounge. I love that guy. I'm glad to see him coming back. Big Sam and Derek doing business again. That should be great stuff. And I'm excited to see this Aaron Rourke guy.
Yeah, Aaron Rourke is like, he's very much kind of a blue chip prospect in the realm of independent wrestling. Anybody that's watched Beyond, Wrestling Open, in the last year is certainly aware of him, or Creative Pro. A lot of the East Coast companies are using him, and he's been doing very well. He's somebody that MJF has told me to take a look at recently. There's a lot of guys have been telling me to take a look at Aaron Rourke, and these Thursdays just provide you that platform to say, okay, you know what I mean? Like, let's see how it goes. Let's do it. And, so I think this is an interesting 4-way of, a lot of different kind of skill sets. And, I personally think that this, outside of the Cibernetico, which, there's a lot of there's a lot of things that can happen within the Cibernetico, but I think if you're looking for, just pure in ring, this is probably my pick for match of the night.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. I always love seeing new people, but a 4-way, is a classic AIW match, and this one's got a lot of potential. I'm really excited for this one.
Yeah,
going forward in the card, we're going to see Brian Carson, someone we haven't seen in AIW too much, versus Alex Melee, another, one of our more recent graduates. I'm going to square off in the ring. I'm excited for this one to see what these two got. I know Alex Melee, that was your Rookie of the Year pick, so we're going to see him get at some action here against Carson.
Alex Melee wears sunglasses a lot, though, so it's kind of starting to make me feel uncomfortable a little bit.
He's always carrying that damn Game Boy around, too.
I don't know if the video games are messing with his eyes, but, it'll be friggin', just lights on, and, he's just got his shades on inside. I don't know.
He wears other people's shades, too. I don't know if you saw it the last show. He was wearing Philly Collins' shades when he was doing ringside, doing guardrail.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and I'm probably, being insensitive. He probably has, like, some kind of medical condition or something I don't know about, but... if I am, I apologize. But if there's not a medical situation, when he wears his sunglasses inside, it makes me feel uncomfortable.
Oh, that's too good. Well, maybe
Brian Carson going to dish out some vet justice, I think, on Thursday.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe Brian Carson going to go ahead. First thing he's going to go for is those damn sunglasses. Carson, Brian, a wily vet. So
Carson is a wily vet. I think, he's certainly... he's like that. He's like that ball player, right? That's trying to make their way back up to the show. He's gonna go out there and he's gonna try to hit a home run. That's he definitely wants to be a more consistent performer in ring. At AIW events, and I don't think he's takes the opportunity too lightly when he's given one.
Right.
I mean. Not to break too much kayfabe, but how good was Cousin Ryan that you only see around Christmas time?
Oh man, yeah. That spawned a whole new. Just like I love that guy as a whole. Just Ryan.
That's what pisses me off because I have a whole fucking Cousin Ryan who you only see at Christmas theme show for the holidays that we're probably not gonna be able to do because these fucking Thursdays aren't working.
Damn it!
I have it.
This is terrible. There's so many things.
You know how I get ideas going in my head now that you're in the group chat.
Oh yeah. Yes, that ball was rolling pretty good before we started really getting rid of these, having the the doom and gloom of the Thursdays. When we were throwing around some ideas in there, there was some gems getting through.
I had some gems, and this was my Cousin Ryan that you only see around Christmas time. Holiday special was man. I had a concept, but we're gonna have to put that one back on the shelf for now. But also, Carson kills it at the Halloween show. Burt Dangle the year before, right?
Yeah,
great at that. Carson is he's a great utility player, and I mean that with the most respect possible. Always willing to jump in and do anything. And I don't think that he's gonna take this opportunity lightly either. He wants to go out there and he wants to he wants to have a good match, and he certainly doesn't want to lose to Alex Melee, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, shy of that one fair show where he had his birthday that he had to get out of there for. He had his birthday party he had to go to. I mean, aside from that, even on shows, he's not on. He comes, he shows up, he's there. He's always, willing to lend a hand, helping doing anything. He's definitely a guy who, like you said, is not going to take this chance, an in-ring chance lightly, especially against a younger guy like Alex. I think Alex got some things to prove being a newer member on the roster, but Carson's going to, definitely a wily vet and gonna bring everything he has for Alex Melee. So I think this one could be a great show, a great match as well. This could be a show stealer. You never know.
Vet justice. He's going to be dishing it out. He wants that spot.
Those sunglasses are not safe, Melee.
Once again, I apologize if there's a medical condition.
No, I don't think. I'll take the heat if so. I don't think so. I know the Cibernetico match obviously going to be our main event, just time length wise, and I named the show. But we do have an absolute title match. I'm very excited for this one. We got Isaiah Broner defending the absolute title versus Magnum CK.
Yeah, I did tweet about this, but anybody that was aware of AIW like for Magnum's first run knows that he was pretty much on the trajectory to the absolute title. I mean, I think it's I don't know if it's been officially put out there, but I mean that was certainly probably the way things were going before he was forced to retire. One thing I didn't realize, which he tweeted, he's never lost a singles match in AIW.
Yeah, that was I when he tweeted that, I was like, wow, and then I went back and looked at him. I'm like, oh yeah, he's right.
And I think, in the words of the great Tommy Rich, I don't do no jobs. I don't think I'm starting on Thursday.
Well, I mean, the only thing the only downside to that for my Mad Magnum is the man that he's got across from him is not a guy who anybody wants to take lightly. This is a guy who has had a chip on his shoulder for a few matches now and is just taking names. So I think this is just going to be a battle of just two absolute forces. I know when Magnum did battle with Effie, they kind of had their little, moment in the middle where they, couldn't touch. If anybody's two amazing forces, I think these two could definitely fit that bill as well. I can't wait for this one.
I mean, Magnum's coming off a huge win. I don't think anybody had him beating Derek in a dog collar match. I just think that sometimes it's a momentum game. And I think that, Magnum certainly has some momentum in his favor. But, Broner's sitting on top. You know what I mean? So it's hard to have momentum when you're already sitting up there.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that, Broner and Sam, I thought, had a fucking awesome main event.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was awesome. But, again, when someone's sitting at the top of the mountain, there's really only one way for them to go, and that's down at the bottom of the mountain. So it's going to be interesting Thursday, and you never know what could happen on a Thursday night, and you might not want to miss it.
Much like you said, we haven't really, aside from the match of the dog collar match, we haven't seen this CK Dark version. You know what I mean? That we don't know what he's really capable of. Now you put the title in front of him, an opportunity at the title. You got CK Dark going up against for the title. You never know what could. This is a Thursday night show. I know we're gonna have a referee in there, but God only knows what's gonna happen. I don't know what levels this new Magnum CK is willing to go to, because it seemed like in that dog collar match that there was no basement for him. He's really doing whatever he can to get that W, and now, like I said, put that belt in front of him, and I think we're gonna see a war here.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a perfect time to also, give him a little cheap plug. He has been sponsoring Intense TV, and he has been providing, monthly exclusive episodes to the AW Patreon of his new YouTube series. Now That's What I Call Wrestling. Yeah, I mean, he's trying to go on a run.
Yeah, it's a really great program. If you haven't checked it out, check out his YouTube page. Like we said, we're just talking about Magnum CK Dark. He's just so damn funny on there. I don't want to break kayfabe or pull the curtain back too much, but the show is a comedy show, and my God, is he funny on there. It's really worth checking out if you haven't seen it yet already. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, and I mean, he's been sending us exclusive episodes to put up on the Patreon that he's not releasing on his public YouTube channel. So, you get those in the $5 tier, sign up, check those out, but they are fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Certainly worth, whether he becomes a fucking super famous wrestler again or not, he should become fucking super famous for the amount of time that he's putting into these Now That's What I Call Wrestling videos, because he's not just like sitting down and talking, you know what I mean? He's like editing, doing voiceovers, and like it's like a whole thing. He's putting a lot of time into it, and I think regardless, if it's your flavor of comedy or not, it's worth checking out, because just based on the amount of time that he's putting into these videos is just incredible. And I personally find them really fucking funny.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I don't know if everybody's gonna find them funny, but I fucking think they're hilarious. And I think it's worth everybody checking them out. So and especially because it's not like we're giving it's not like we're just saying like, hey, Magnum, we'll give you a plug. Like, he is like negotiating with Dustin Alberti, who is kind of heading up the sponsorship program right now, and like he is like paying money to sponsor Intense TV. It's not like a, hey man, we're just gonna throw this out there. Like, he's paying, like the exchange is paying, and he really wants people to see this thing, and he wants to support AIW too. So like, a lot of that is, he probably doesn't even want that to really be known, but you got to put it out there because, like, he, more than a lot of people, really wants to see this company succeed. And, he's just always going above and beyond more than he should.
I just think it's a testament too. It's like it's a put your money where your mouth is. He believes in his product enough that he's willing to to financially back it. Money where his mouth is, and put it out there. So the more people that can discover this thing, the better. And all the while help AIW, like you said. So enough good things can't be said about that guy. Going forward, our final match of the night will be the Cibernetico match. It is an 8-on-8 lucha style rules. I know there's official rules to it. It's a lucha based,
like baseball,
right?
So it's like a batting order and like lucha tags. So if somebody rolls out, the next person in the order has to get in the ring, and then as it's elimination. So as people get eliminated. And if one complete team gets eliminated, then you start fighting your own team. There can only be one winner of the Cibernetico. One of the most confusing matches and interesting matches ever invented in pro wrestling, in my opinion. And it's and that's why we do it around Cinco de Mayo, because it is a Mexican wrestling. That's where it started, and that's where the Cibernetico match kind of rose to fame. So that's kind of our tip of the hat to Mexican wrestling, to do the Cibernetico right around Cinco de Mayo. And it's just it's 8-on-8, 16 people, to start, and you start working your way through the batting orders, and as people get eliminated, the batting orders shrink, and but you have to go in order. You can't enter the ring out of order.
Yeah,
so, there's all kinds of little intricacies, that go into it. But I mean, this match is probably, it takes a while. I think we've done 2 of them previously, and I think both of them were probably close to, if not over, an hour.
I just think there's so many possibilities, and we've just seen some really cool stuff in the previous matches. Like you said, it's these weird rules where if somebody rolls out or gets thrown over, the next person has to come in. So, maybe say there's not a real favorable matchup in the lineup, and then, the other team tries to take advantage of that, you know what I mean? Or there's just so many things that can happen. There's a lot of possibilities. It's just an exciting match every year. And I'm really happy to be a part of it for the 3rd time. I can't wait to see this one go down. We got Team Taylor, Eric Taylor, the captain of that one, versus Team Wes. I know each had made one pick at least. I don't know how much of this.
You can run down the teams. They're officially, I think, gonna throw it all out there on social media by the time this airs. But so you can run down Team Taylor and Team West, and I don't know what the batting orders are going to be either. So they'll be responsible for kind of probably putting their batting orders out there. Anybody that's familiar with baseball, I mean, that's really what it is. It's a batting order. So like if you're you're leadoff hitting, you're in the ring first. And then you just kind of go down the line. To whoever's going 8th, and then as soon as you get through the order, it's top of the order again. So as soon as number 8 is tags out or rolls out, for a lucha tag, then top of the order starts all over again.
And that's like what I was alluding to as far as the possibilities and how teams, can try to work it in their favor, because I don't know if they're going to give the batting orders ahead of time, but maybe do you want to stack the beginning of the order, or do you want to go, heavy at the beginning, heavy at the end, go a little, equal through the middle? It's like picking your lineup in the old NES game ice hockey. You want to do a really big guy, one medium guy, two skinny guys, or how do you want to slot these orders and the batting order of it? And that's one of the things I think is most interesting about the Cibernetico match. We do
also
have
be compared to picking your order in World Series Baseball for the Sega Genesis.
There you go. Yeah, also same thing. But we got Team Taylor in no particular order. I don't know. Like I said, this is not the batting order. These are just who was presented us for the picks. We got Eric Taylor, the Duke, Chuck Stone, the affiliate, Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham, Zay Garcia, Sidney Von England, the Slugger Austin James, and the Bone Collector Dominic Guarini rounding out Team Taylor. So we're going to have those 8 taking on Team West in Wes Barkley, Kaplan, Philly Collins, and Marino Tenaglia, PME, Malcolm Cambridge, Calvin G. Lewis, members only, Tyler Jordan, and Sean Mason. So you got a couple tags on this side, some familiar faces, people that have worked together on Team West, taking on Team Taylor. You got Eric and the Duke and Chuck Stone of all kind of working together. Sid and Zay got a little tag team action. So it's going to be very interesting. Like you said, this is a match that, a lot can go down here. And obviously we didn't even say that yet. I mean, as for those of you that do remember, the winner of Cibernetico, they get their shot at the absolute, or is it either title they choose, or is it
absolute title?
Absolute title. Okay, so then the winner of this will get a shot at the absolute title.
Because if Eric Taylor wins, then he could take a shot at Isaiah Broner.
Interesting.
Because he's in the match. So there's a possibility of holding both titles again. Which happened for a while. Previously when Matt Justice kind of unified the belts, and then they were unified for quite some time until Josh Bishop split them. But I think that there's a lot of possibilities. But the winner of this gets the shot at the absolute champion, whoever that may be, Isaiah Broner or Magnum CK, at Gauntlet for the Gold on May 24th.
Well, we did get a question. I don't want to get off this card too quickly. I think it's a pretty strong card, especially for a Thursday night. I'm very excited. We did have a question. We do open up the Patreon, the Discord. If you're part of the Patreon, you get invited to the Discord. That's one of the deliverables we got, and you can ask any type of questions in there. Anything else, anything you want to know, anything you want to cover, or anything we don't, get into here on the pod. You can always throw your hat into the ring. And the EVP of Health, Jeremy, would like to know if Derek is going to be able to defend the IW Guide title at AIW events. Recently, Derek won the IW Guide title belt, and Jeremy is curious if that will ever be defended at AIW.
Derek doesn't even have a podcast.
No, he's not on the podcast. The podcast has a title, and Derek has won the title. Is what happened here.
But he doesn't have a podcast. So, how is he the champion of podcasts?
No, it's a specific podcast's belt, I believe. I'm not sure how it all works. I don't really know. No one informed me of how this works, so I'm not really sure. I would go ahead and assume that's maybe a no then on that one.
Well, I don't know. I'm confused by the whole thing. Probably not. I don't know. We have a few championships.
Yeah, we have a few championships. None of them are for a podcast, so I don't know how that works.
We have 2 that don't even get defended in the Bill Alfonso tournament, and the boot, which I don't even really recognize, and never gets defended anyway.
Oh boy. You're getting him hot. He's in his car screaming at the radio right now. That's for sure. It gets hot whenever you talk about that.
You ever see that car? That fucking neon
it's
green
a Jeep
car he drives?
Isn't it a Jeep?
No. He drives this neon green. I've posted it on my Twitter before. It's like a Fast and the Furious car he drives in the summertime.
Oh, nice. That's sweet.
I posted it before. It's like neon green. I'll have to find. I'll send you a picture of it. I put it on Twitter before.
I mean, he would tell you that he defends that boot all over the continent, all over the country, the continent, the globe, all over. He's said all kinds of wild things about defending that belt. So who knows? I'm sure he's screaming at his radio right now. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about what whatever the belt you just said it was that Derek has. I'm sure Derek has plenty of belts everywhere. I don't know, like, so I don't think so. I didn't know that they had a belt.
I would just say we're probably focusing on the AIW belt at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't know about it, really. So, don't know how to answer that question, but I would say probably not because we have our own championships. So, I don't know. But if they want to go podcast for the belt, we can do that.
Yeah, because I mean, I used to have another podcast. We didn't have a belt or anything, but I do this podcast now. If we get a belt, I'm definitely, you know, what I mean, I don't take bumps or nothing, but I'll fight somebody for it if that's the case. I don't want to fight you. That's for sure. I've seen the crazy shit you do in the ring.
If I put our downloads up against Derek's podcast downloads, do we become the champion?
I think that's how that works.
Because Derek doesn't even have a podcast, so we fucking won already.
Right, exactly. Oh, shit. Well,
I really don't know anything about it, to be honest.
Fair enough.
I was unaware that Derek is the champion of podcasting.
You know, I find that hard to believe he's the champion of podcasting because we do this podcast every week and he hasn't showed up yet. So I don't know if I can crown him the champion of podcasts.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And to be fair, I don't really fucking pay too much attention to any the other shows that aren't AIW at this point anymore.
Yeah, it's tough. I listen to Joe's podcast.
Dude, I've not listened to another podcast in, like, years.
Well, see, I think it's hard, too. I know. See, when I listen to podcasts, I do it at work while I'm working. And you can't do that. And you also don't have a far drive from work. So it's like your commute is like it would take you like 2 weeks to finish an episode of a podcast if you just listen on your commute, right?
My commute's like 13 minutes or something like that. You know, so it's just like I need a short podcast. I need like a 10-minute or less podcast. So yeah, I just don't listen. And like when I had a different job, I was able to like listen, but I can't do that at my current job now. So like I don't listen to any fucking podcasts at all. Like I am oblivious. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
I don't watch any other really wrestling shows. Like it's just like, dude, like when like AIW is so fucking consuming, like it is so hard to be like, okay, let me watch Dynamite or let me watch fucking, GCW or something, like,
yeah,
I can scroll and, somebody can give me like cliff notes of things that happen. And I mean, I apologize. I had no fucking idea that there was a podcast champion. Like, that question caught me off guard. So like, I'm just like, I had no idea.
I think it's just like
congratulations, Eric.
He's got enough belts. It's fine. But I think it's tough because like talking back about the Aaron Rourke thing, he could be somebody that's very out there, and maybe I'm the wrong person for this podcast, and that's a detriment to it just for this fact. But I don't get to watch a lot of other wrestling aside from when we watched WrestleMania, last a month ago or something. That was kind of the most wrestling I watched that wasn't AIW in a long time because I don't have time for it.
I'll watch like a pay-per-view, like a WWE pay-per-view or like an AEW pay-per-view or something.
Yeah.
But like as far as like the weekly television and all that, it's just like it's hard to have time to do all that, when you have a job, and like it's just tough. And I just don't I just don't have time to do it, especially when we're trying to do so many other things with like this platform and this company. And like that's what people I don't think realize is like it's just like fucking 24 hours a day, we're not working 24 hours a day, but like it's like sometimes I'll have things to say, and then sometimes Dom will have things to say. You know what I mean? It's just like there's these ever like fluid group chat things going on to where it's like, there's just different You know, there's just different stuff like happening at all hours of the day, and then it's just like, you know, then if there's like some big wrestling news story or something like that, you know what I mean? But like, I don't have time. Like, for me to sit and like watch indie shows, I just don't have time. Aaron Rourke got on my radar because MJF like texted me and like sent me stuff of him and was like, this dude is so fucking good. And I was just like, I'm going to try, man, you know? And like, Bear Bronson, same thing, was like, hey, you know, can I bring Aaron with me? And like, he was trying to do it for the last Mercury show, and we just did not have the space. So, you know, we worked it out for this one, but, yeah, you know, it's hard. And like, I was having this conversation with, somebody today, and it's just like the base level of independent wrestling has improved so much since I first started coming around independent wrestling. And like, this is not a dig on any of the people that were great and have all gone on to do great things. They all are extremely so talented, and that shows by how a lot of their careers have gone really, you know, in the last probably 5-10 years. But like, you know, people like, you know, Bryan Danielson and, you know, Seth Rollins, who's Tyler Black, and, you know, Kevin Owens, and like Chris Hero, and like, these guys were all extremely talented wrestlers. But like, the base level of like a lot of shows in like those eras were like 75% of the wrestlers were like guys that worked at gas stations. They came out to Rob Zombie and like tripped their way through matches. So like, the people that like took it seriously, like those guys, and have all gone on to do great things, like they really stood out to where like now, like the base level of independent wrestling has been raised so much, like through just advancements in training and just overall improvement of like all the different scenes across the country and across the world, really. Like, the base level of wrestling is like so high right now that like everybody is, at least for the most part, good enough to very good. But like, it's harder to stand out because there's far less of those fucking like Rob Zombie wrestlers that used to just be in every fucking scene on every fucking show everywhere, to where, you know, it was like apparent who the really good wrestlers were. Now it's like, kind of like, all the good wrestlers are kind of hiding in plain sight because they're all like kind of floating around these like good base levels. So like, to become a star and stand out now, it's so much harder, in my opinion, because like everybody is pretty good. And like, you know, just look at like, you know, locally, like, you know, products of the AW Academy, you know, products of, you know, in Chicago, the Freelance Academy. You know, there's just like all of these great schools that are pumping out people that are like extremely talented, but like, it's hard for them to stand out because, you know, everybody is at such a higher base level than independent wrestling used to be at.
Right. That's kind of what makes it harder for you, and your job's so hard too, you know. And that's the brutal part of these Thursdays, is now we're not getting the opportunity to showcase as many of these newer names or guys that, you know, you look for.
Right. I mean, it's just hard. Like, the base level, like, you know, the base level is just so different now, you know, and like, people are just so much better, like, just across the board. So it just really makes things difficult. So, you know, MJF was really, you know, pushing Aaron Rourke. I mean, he's extremely talented, but it's like, you know, so are a lot of the guys coming out of our school are extremely talented. So it's really hard to kind of find that middle ground of, you know, where to fit, you know, people in to travel in from different scenes. You know what I mean? It's very difficult. Because, you know, Aaron Rourke could be the next fucking big star, right? But it's like, MJF told me about him a year or two ago, but it's like, it's been hard to find a place to work him in, you know, because we have so many really talented people just locally in the scene now, you know, that have come out of the AW Academy. So it's difficult.
Yeah.
I think we got a couple more questions. I don't know.
We did. Here we go. Got one from Justin Summers. He wants to know if you think WWE would let AIW borrow any WWE talent for a night during the SummerSlam weekend. WWE will be coming here to Cleveland. There's a specific WWE name, I believe, he wants to know.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea, to be honest with you. Like, I know about as much about that as everybody else knows about it. Like, everyone's pretty hush-hush on how that whole thing came to be, but the story goes Josh Barnett called Triple H. I don't have Triple H's number, so I don't know, like, I don't know how that's gonna work. I would say probably highly unlikely, but especially you didn't see WWE people on any other show. It was just that one incident.
Yeah.
Or instance, not incident. But yeah, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Tough one to call, and you don't want to say yes or no, and then, you know what I mean?
I mean, I really, I know as much as everybody else. Like, it's not like fucking Nick Khan's texting me, like, I don't know.
Fair enough. Jersey Mike wants to know, who do you think is a favorite to win the gauntlet? Do you have any thoughts on who you think the favorite for the gauntlet is?
Yeah, I know who's going to win the gauntlet. I'm not telling you, Jersey Mike.
Wait a minute here. So wait, what do you mean? What are you trying to say? No, I'm just kidding.
I think there's a lot. I mean, I think there's a ton of potential. I think we've done a lot of really great things as far as, establishing people over the last, 6 months to a year. Like, you have to. There's a lot of, we've seen a lot of people kind of rise to the ranks. But we got to see who even is the absolute champion by May 24th, right?
It's true. We do have a couple shows before that one, or at least one. So,
you got Broner versus CK this Thursday, and then you got the winner of the Cibernetico versus either CK or Broner, May 24th. And then the Gauntlet winner, would seemingly be wrestling whoever that is. So, I mean, it could go a lot of different ways, right? Like, that's what's interesting in my position is there's a lot of different directions we can go, because I do feel like we have established people to our fan base that, like, there are a lot of potential contenders.
Right. That's kind of what I was going to say. I think there's so many people that, you could make a case for it. And when we did, and when all this went down, all the discussion and all that, there was a lot of different, scenarios played out.
Yeah, there's been a lot of different presentations, you know what I mean, of ideas, and, it could be this person, it could be this person, it could be, like, I mean, there's probably a solid, like, legitimate 10 at least people that are in consideration right now.
That's a long list. That's 10 is a long list of people it could be. So anything can happen here in AIW. Definitely, and it all starts this Thursday. You know what I mean? There's a title match. Sometimes these Thursday shows are, we've said have been a little more student heavy, or, some not as known names on the card. You got an absolute title match on this thing this Thursday. In my book, Isaiah Broner is must-see TV. I think in my book as well, a lot of other people's books, at Magnum CK, must-see TV. That's going to be that's a big-time match here in AIW.
Yeah, I think, Isaiah Broner is certainly, a must-see act. And, you just never know when the last time you're going to be able to see any of these people are. You just don't know what contract situations are. There's all kinds of different scenarios that come out of nowhere. So, just don't be that person that goes, I'm going to skip that one, and then it turns out being the last time you can see somebody, because there's a lot of that going on right now. And, just get out while you can, because there's going to be this title match, there's major implications for, the remainder of the year for AIW. This is kind of the start of it, and the start of, where things are potentially going to go, and kind of the start of that that blank page, when we start writing the book for Absolution 17, it's really starting on this Thursday night. So because there's a lot of implications. The Cibernetico winners getting a title shot. There's just that's what really bums me out about this show not selling well. Not to circle back to that, but like there's just so many different intricacies that have been like really fucking sat down and talked about and fleshed out, and all these different ideas of intertwining things. And it all starts Thursday, and it's going to progress throughout the year. And I think that we've spent a lot of time on coming up with something that the people that really lock in and follow AIW are really going to enjoy. And and it's just like, it's also one of those things that it's exciting for us, and it kind of takes the wind out of our sails when we look and we go, fuck, like, what are we doing wrong? You know what I mean? Because we're you're kind of like new to this process, but we've had you kind of come along and observe some of it, and like you've been in a room when there's 8 hours where we're fucking trying to plan things for December, you know what I mean? So it's like, you've kind of been led into that room to where we're like really trying to like make these next couple months really great. And it is a little disappointing when you look at the ticket sales for Thursday. Hopefully there's a miracle, but on so many different levels of needing it to be a success, this show isn't streaming by design, and it's going to have a lot of implications moving forward throughout the year.
The road to Absolution absolutely kicks off, and it kicks off this Thursday, so you definitely want to be there. $20, to all tickets at the door, $20. I think that's a pretty good deal. They got food there. There's great beers, drinks, specials, and stuff like that. It's not a crazy price. There's parking. There's street parking all over. Come out this Thursday, 7:30 bell time. Come check us out. Anything you want to get to before we get out of here?
No, and keep an eye on those new Patreon tiers that are rolling out. We're going to have that ready to go in the next day or two. And, with new things that we're going to start offering going forward. And there's a lot of cool things in there. Ronnie $2 is getting his own tier. So
that was awesome. I was really stoked about that. So yeah, come on out. We'll see everybody this Thursday. Come on, let's have a beer, have a shot or something. Hit me up. I'll do a drink with somebody. Let's party, man. Let's get a Thursday night party going. Road to Absolution starts Thursday. We'll see everybody out there. For myself, for John Thorne, for AIW, we'll see everybody this Thursday. Thanks.
I'm not gonna do a drink with you.